name is Fermi once again, and as always, I'm here to tell you the things that I've seen, I've heard, and I know that has made my life amazing and given me a wonderful relationship with God, so that you also can see them, you can hear them, and you can know them, and then your life, your spiritual life, can be amazing and be the best, beautiful. So we're talking about light. And we've established the fact that the new nature after salvation is light, the old is darkness. So Ephesians 5:8 says, you were sometimes darkness, now are ye light, walk as children of light. Okay, so we are the light of the world, and it's a glorious thing to be light. We are light. Now if a person is not light, it means it's darkness. And Isaiah 60 verse 1 tells us to arise and shine, for the glory of God has come upon us. Then verse 2 says that the world is darkness, and then it says the people are gross darkness. Now the world right now, the world is darkness. It's not hard to see. The world is darkness, and the reason why the world is darkness is because of the people that are gross darkness. It's like they keep on sourcing darkness into it. They keep on stabilizing the darkness. They make sure the darkness stays because gross darkness is in them, or they are gross darkness. And if you remember, darkness is the old nature, and most people are not saved, meaning that most people are old. Therefore, the world is darkness. Now we are light. Romans 12:2 says not to conform to the world. And that's because the world is darkness, we are light. What relationship has light with darkness? Other than to save darkness, to change darkness into light, to extinguish darkness and make it light. So, as light, what we are meant to do is make this world light. We are meant to shine and remove it from darkness, change it. Because John 1:4-5 says that light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot comprehend it. That is, the darkness cannot overpower it. So we as Christians, when we shine, there's nothing the world can do about it. We are just going to shine and turn everything into light. And you see, part of the results, the things that are evident about the world being darkness are the kind of problems that we see facing every day. For instance, now, at this point at which I'm recording this video, there's a lot of issue on racism going on, the Black Lives Matter and things like that. Well, racism, along with many other things that people do every day, you see, racism is one of. Now, racism is not actually the real problem. Racism, there are many problems like racism, rape, murder, armed robbery, many things like that. Terrible things. And all these things are things that people look at and they see the problem, and then someone says something like, if there's a God, if God is real, why is he not doing anything about all these things? Why isn't he, taking all these things? Well, first of all, racism or murder or rape or all these things, all these bad things are not actually the main problem. They are only effects of the problem. The problem is the darkness in man. Isaiah 6:2 said, gross darkness the people. When God created everything, when God created man, there wasn't anything like racism. All these things didn't exist. But as man was darkened, the more all these things started to come out of their hearts, we started seeing all these different forms in which darkness manifests. That's why Isaiah 61 says, arise, shine. Many times you can decide to sit and not shine. That's when you be a dull light. That's when you don't glow, because you are still living like you are old, like you are darkness. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus said, we are the light of the world. The world is darkness. We are light. And it's a glorious position. It's a beautiful thing. Why? Because as lights, we are the ones to change the world. God is never going to just, snap his fingers and then racism will disappear. Or one day jump down from heaven and end all injustice and the corruption in the world or stuff like that. That's never come to happen. Why? Because the problem is darkness in the human heart, and the only way for that darkness to go is when the gospel is preached. I cannot do all those things that I just mentioned. Why? 2 Corinthians 4:6 says, God who commanded the light to shine into the darkness has shined in our hearts. So God has shined in my heart. That's how I became light. So darkness is gone. And all those side effects can never come out from me. The point is, we as light are the ones to change the world. God changes the world through us. Philippians 2:13 says, God is the one working in us to will and to do of his good pleasure. So when we shine, now God shined in my heart, but he did it through someone. When someone came to me and preached the gospel to me and started teaching me. So as lights, the way we change the world is by preaching the gospel. That is the only way. Any other way you try will fail. Why? Because the gospel is the only way that God can shine. Because he said in an earlier verse, the glorious light of the gospel. That's how God shines in people's hearts. That's how it shined in my heart. That's how it's going to shine in any other person's heart. So if God should snap his fingers and end racism, or rape, or any other thing, let's imagine that God snaps his fingers and we get a perfect world. No problem at all, no sickness, no nothing, no problem, everyone is good. If the darkness is still in people's hearts, after some time, all those things that God snapped his fingers and they disappear will come back, or the world might even end up being worse this time. So the only way the world is going to change is when we preach the gospel, when we do our duty as light, when we arise and shine. That's the only way darkness can change into light, when light overcomes it, when light shines, which is why we have to shine. And it says God is the one working in us. That's how God shines to people, because we are the light through which God shines to people. And 1 Corinthians 40, I think 31 says, the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. God is the one working in us to will and to do of his good pleasure. But if you don't allow him, his spirit in you is subject to you. If you decide not to shine, there's nothing you can do about it. He's just going to watch you. So arise, shine. The glory of God is come upon you. We are the light of the world. We are to shine. We are to change the world into what God had in mind when he created it. Because this is not what he had in mind when he created it. So we are the lights to shine. And the only way through which we will shine is when we preach the gospel. There's no other way. There's no other thing. Nothing else. Nothing else can change the world apart from the gospel. The gospel is how we shine as light. So in Matthew 5:16, when Jesus said, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father is in heaven. What he meant is preach the gospel, because that's the only way people will change. People only glorify God when they have changed from darkness. Nobody stays in darkness and glorifies God. That doesn't happen until they change into light. That's after we preach the gospel to them and get them saved. They come to light, then they glorify God. So as lights, what you're meant to do is preach the gospel. If you're not preaching the gospel, it means you are living like an old person and you're a dull light if you are saved. Now, that's not something to be scared about or get offended at. What you're meant to do is contact me for life class so that we can work on that and get you brighter, so you can grow. Because if you don't grow, you'll still be living like an old person or a dark person, whatever. So contact me for life class so as to live as the light that you are. Because that is the glorious position, the rule that God has given us on this earth, to shine, to be light, to change it, to have an impact. Because as lights, we have an impact when we shine. So call me for life class. Call the number on the screen so that I can help you grow and we can change this world into what God had in mind when he created. Thank you. Bye.